We are live. Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to BFF Podcast, episode 4. Today we're going to be talking about dating in Canada, North America, and also fitness topics that are going to help both youngsters and even people in their 30s, 40s looking to rehabilitate or to get back into shape. So today I'm joined by a very special friend of mine who has taught me a lot last time we've met. And honestly, he's a cool guy. Thanks to him, I actually got into podcasting because he's the one that told me to, hey, make this move. So I did. So this guy right here, Rob C, he's the man. Rob, how are you doing, my man?
Yo, that's a sick intro, Yanni. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast, my man. I always saw a little thing in you where I was like, this guy's got something, and I'm like, man, he should share it with the world. And I think that's why I encouraged you to go and like, I don't know, create content, do something. Right? I don't know if it was a podcast per se, but I'm like, you got something, and I was like, you should share that with the world. So I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we get to chop it up, man.
Hell yeah, man. And I remember you told me that, yeah, I need to get into it. It was like streaming or something. But, I was going to put it in this project on ice because, as I told to my viewers before, I had like a charity boxing fight that I wanted to get through first. But then after that, I met like so many interesting people throughout my life that I just thought like there's no reason for me to not invite them over here and share their own experiences and knowledge so that others can also learn and improve their lives perhaps. So when I met you, like I said, you've been a very interesting persona to interact with because I definitely feel like you have a lot of experience to share to a lot of people. So why don't you introduce yourself real quick to the people who might not know who you are, what your brand is, so that we know who we're talking to?
All right, so where do I even start, man? This journey began about 8 years ago. I was looking to kind of do something on in the online space, and I didn't know where to begin. I was working a mundane job. I was looking to break out, and I just, kind of similar like you. I needed a little break from, the everyday 9 to 5. So I was in a mastermind with this guy named Lewis House. He has a podcast named School of Greatness. He interviews a bunch of people, but he was throwing a mastermind. And in that mastermind, I got kind of clear on, the message that I want to bring to the online space. And that message was how I got through my pain of divorce. And I went through it at a very young age. I had kids. Don't recommend that anyone go through that. I mean, it's a terrible experience, and there's a lot to learn from there. And during that time with Lewis, he kind of pushed me in that direction, and through there I started a men's group that turned into a coaching business, and here we are about 8 years later. And I've kind of pivoted here a little bit where I'm going to start taking a little break from the divorce space. I'm not leaving it per se. I'll still help guys who are going through divorce, but we're going like when I say we, Asian guys in particular are going through a very difficult time in the dating space. So I wanted to expand my horizons and help Asian men specifically in the dating space. So raw based here, you could see that's where I started creating a whole bunch of free content for Asian guys. I knew that, I'm not going to charge them anything. Look, I know there's a whole plethora of information out there on AI and everything. So I just wanted to go live every day for 30 days and give the best content that I possibly can. So I created a catalog here. So if you guys want to go look it up, it's there. But me personally, I just do coaching and I write books, and that's where my heart is at. I like to write books. I like to express, what is in here, what's in here, into the real world in paper, so that people can, say, hey, this is some physical. This is a physical thing here, and they can make do with what they want with it. But really, it's just it's a guide. It's a practical guide. It's a how-to for guys who are struggling through dating, through divorce, through any type of relationship issue, basically. But it starts from within, and that's kind of like my journey in a nutshell.
Amazing, man. I'm pretty sure you've had quite of a journey as you've been coaching people. You've discovered a lot of things. As you've been talking to many people, many guys who have been struggling in divorce and dating struggles, fitness, and whatnot. But what I'm most interested in is that since we're both coming from a coaching perspective, me, it's more based around like martial arts, teaching mental toughness and instill this, how can I say, masculine edge by actually learning how to fight. You, it's more using this masculine edge that you've built and project it towards people through form of, let's say, attraction or even seduction when it comes to dating. So what I want to ask you is, when guys nowadays in Canada, they're looking to improve their dating lives and whatnot, what would you say are the top things? I would say top three things that they need to focus on to already stand out from the majority in the country.
Yeah, I mean, the guys in the bottom, like Asian guys, like you guys have to understand that, we're already working at a big disadvantage. There are dudes out there that have knowledge, that I'm about to give you guys, and they're miles ahead. Okay, and it's time for guys like who are in the basement to, understand that you're gonna have to work a lot harder from the bottom, to get to even, average, because let's be real here, most girls don't even like average guys. So we need to go, and be above average. So I would say the top three things that most guys need to really look deep within, is, what are your finances looking like, right? Do a little inventory on that and take note of, how much money's coming in, how much money's coming out, where am I allotting, certain percentages for investments, where am I doing, and get down to the nitty gritty. So that's one thing. The second thing is your health, right? And not just your physical health, but obviously your mental health and everything as well too. Like your mind, body, it all needs to be working in unison. And I don't think one takes more precedence over the other. I just think that they both work well together. And so work on mind and body. And then the third thing is you got to have a little bit of riz. Okay, that's what the kids are calling it these days. You need a little bit of riz. You can't go empty-handed into these social settings and not know what to say to people and not know how to open up conversations, not just with women but just with other guys too, because when you get in these settings, especially if you're a business owner, you got to know how to plant those seeds correctly and reap the benefits of your rewards later on. But if you don't know how to get in those scenarios in the first place, and then obviously you don't know how to behave in those scenarios in the first place, I would recommend go out and learn public speaking, go to Toastmasters, go to, local community events, dive bars, try cold approach. There's so many things that you can really get just used to by accessing the things that are around you. And most guys, like I said, they live in their shell. They have this lone wolf mentality, and I don't blame them. The government, puts us in little shoeboxes, and allots his time to go to work, and then allots his time for free time, and then I get it. All right, it's tough, but we do have to make an effort if we want to make some strides in our relationship, in our dating life. Okay, so get your finances in order, get your health checked, and then also learn how to be social, because no women wants an introverted guy. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but more or less, more times than less, like girls out there, they like an extroverted guy. They like a charismatic, ambitious, outgoing guy who can go out and manipulate the world and do what he wants with it. Okay, as opposed to a guy who just sits in the corner, doesn't really do much, you know, and just takes life as it comes to him. Instead, I think being a man of action, going out there, doing the thing that is required of you as men, and most guys just they cower from it. So I think those three top of the line, you'll be a top shelf guy after that, top of the line male.
Perfect. Yeah, I totally agree, man. Especially right now in the Western world, I feel like you said, the government is kind of trying to suppress the masculinity, the proper type of masculinity in men nowadays. And that leaves us in this world where women hate men and men kind of like don't want to date women because they're kind of giving up on dating. And that is so, I would say, unhealthy for a society because imagine where you have to live in a place like North America where if you want to, make money, you go to a job and whatnot. But how about leaving a legacy behind, having kids? Don't you care about that? Are you actually going to die alone without anybody actually caring about you in the future after you die? So, going back towards having riz and having the confidence to be extroverted around people, not just women, I feel like, of course, women are a big projection or a reflection of who you are as a guy. If you have any type of insecurities, women will definitely smell it on you. There's no way you can actually hide it. So I find it kind of surprising how obviously one of the best ways to practice extrovert activities is go to improv, go actually approach people, be social. But I want to touch obviously on the importance of learning how to fight and to defend yourself through martial arts activities because I always found out that guys who take martial arts seriously and stick long enough, embrace it as a lifestyle, it actually becomes part of a personality which I would say gives you more confidence to not just talk to people, but just show yourself to everybody, show your true side, and not be afraid of criticism, which is something big because we live in a world where you can say something that could be slightly controversial and people will automatically going to jump onto your throat. And if you are not strong mentally to be able to absorb this energy and transform it into motivation to speak out even more and stand your ground, then you're kind of passing by life on a very plateaued manner. And that's how many people or guys are failing in life. It's because they don't actually
Yes.
stand up for what they believe in and stand up for good causes, not just some degenerate stuff. So yeah, it is a pretty
No,
interesting topic.
no, that's facts. I mean, what's that quote that Mike Tyson always says? Like, something about getting punched in the face. Most dudes haven't got punched in the face. They've never been into a altercation, let alone physical. And they don't know how to behave correctly. And what women are looking for instinctually is protection from their man. They want their man to protect them. And here's a little thing that it's not very sexy to talk about, but women, they do like a guy that looks like he could probably kill a man, right? It's not sexy to talk about, but it's something that's in them innately. And if you can, I guess, kind of understand that on more of a hindbrain level and then let that come out naturally, obviously, in ways that Yanni had mentioned, which is like learn how to fight, be that protector, be that guy who can, you know, be in be that intimidating factor when you guys are out and about. She's wearing a nice little dress or whatnot, and obviously guys are staring at her. Um, and so if you don't have, that about you, you might be losing a bunch of girls on the back burner. So just being airtight, I think it's in those areas, man. I think it's definitely some things that a lot of guys, and I don't know, maybe Yanni, have you noticed, an uptick in dudes wanting to learn how to fight? Are they, because you started young. It's hard to say for you, but I mean other dudes, right? Like they didn't start as young as you. How are they kind of, listening to culture and this new wave of like, yo, MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, like BJJ, like go learn something, like get in the dojo.
Good question. And I feel like with the rise of organizations such as the UFC or even the rise of boxing, especially influencer boxing, which is, I feel like it's a very, very great thing because it obviously shows one of the most viewed influencers, let's say Logan Paul or Jake Paul or KSI, when they have beef with somebody, instead of talking shit on the internet, they can actually do a straightener, so to speak. Put the gloves on, get into a ring, have a bunch of people watch you fight, and get a beating or give a beating. Either way, you settle this thing in the ring, and things are solved like that, which I feel like is a really good way of promoting sports and promoting martial arts specifically. Since, as we know, there's a lot of influencers out there that promote rather the degenerate lifestyle. But you know what's interesting? As for people wanting to join martial arts clubs, it really is a decision that comes down to themselves specifically. Because I noticed that there's a lot of guys nowadays that they are lazy, but most importantly, they're ignorant. So there's no way that you can actually tell them that they need to start training martial arts, not just for themselves, but to protect their loved ones. And I'll give you an example. I'll ask them, okay, what happens if somebody attacks you? They'll say, but nobody will attack me. I live in Canada, the safest place in the country. But honestly, I feel it's such a cope. Assuming that you live in a very safe country, assuming that you live in a very safe environment, what's going to happen when it comes down to standing your ground, like I said? What's going to happen when it comes to voicing your opinions without being afraid to do so? That is something that people are underestimating a lot. So I genuinely feel like, obviously, by teaching my clients, it's going to help me create a community of people, no matter how small it is, of go getters, of people who are not afraid to chase life and do the best that they can to become the best version of they can. But also, I think it's very important for martial arts instructors or just coaches in general to stay on their grind and keep coming back to the ring, so to speak. For example, myself, I have already done 9 fights. Majority of them were MMA fights, some in boxing, some in kickboxing. However, I still try to get back to it and do a fight, other fight, and another fight. Matter of fact, I have another one coming up in October, which is with repeats. So I feel like it's a great opportunity to keep
Nice.
improving myself. Thank you. And keep showing the world that although I already achieved a level of expertise, you can always make the blade sharper. And that's the beauty about life is in both in dating, in life, in business, in fitness and whatnot. There's it's a never ending journey towards self improvement. And people feel like once they achieve a certain level in any of those spectrums, they feel like it's time to hang the gloves. But that's kind of, I would say, boring and it's kind of disrespectful to the universe. Because if you follow the journey of self improvement, that's when the karma will actually give you flowers, so to speak. I mean,
Mhm.
what do you have to say about this specific thing about karma, about giving rewards to people by the universe?
Yeah, well, firstly, I mean, let this be a testament to a lot of the guys listening in. If you are a younger dude, get in a fight gym, learn how to fight, because look what's come out of it. It's given you so much opportunity, I believe. Not only that, like, um, just the mental fortitude it takes to learn how to fight, get in the ring, and actually go and duke it out with another man. That's most guys can't even do that. Do you know what I mean? So let that be a testament. But in terms of never giving up, and it's our duty for it's our like I said, it's our duty to the world as men, to go through the fire, to go through the storm, to go through all the hardships, to go through all the trials and tribulations to get to your idea of happiness, okay? And whatever that is. And I always talk about it as, it's not an end goal, it's part of the journey, okay? And it's not going to be even keel, it's not going to be a plateau, all right? But the importance of it is to keep going. And I think what's important for a lot of guys is when they're older, let's say, when they're my age, 40 plus, let's say, the going gets a lot more difficult because you're weathered and you're tired, you might not have enough energy. Well, you got to keep going. It's a blessing to have these problems. And in order for us to, like I think Yanni had alluded to earlier, leave a legacy, you can't give up. And so the karmic, I guess, nature of the world will reward you if you do indeed keep going. Because if you stop, then there's no energy for this universe to, I guess, absorb from you and give back to you. And that's kind of how it works. Because if you've ever thrown a punch, you know what I mean, and it has energy behind it, I'm sure Yanni can admit that. It there there there's a lot to do with not just how to throw a punch, but the energy behind the punch. And I think it's like, it goes hand in hand. Especially in the self development world, if you're not, working on both sides of the coin. And I think that's where a lot of the I guess the manosphere gets a little lost in translation, where you get in there and you're like, yeah, rah rah, it's self development, but it's a lot on just shitting on girls and dunking on them, and making fun of their nature, whereas they forget to look at themselves, which is like, what's our duty, what's our goal? And that's to have kids, that's to have some sort of tradition, or some sort of something that you can pass along to your next generation, so that it keeps going and going and going. And I think a lot of guys they lose track of that. So I don't know if that ties in with your karma question, but yeah, it's definitely hand in hand, so
Yeah, it's very well said, and you actually brought up something very, very interesting, and is that we're live right now in this world where there's guys out there that are in their 40s who are not in their best version, so they can be out of shape, they can be in a very negative state of mind. Some of them might actually be coming from a divorce, which is even worse. So they're getting taken through the slaughterhouse. And you being in your 40s, being super in shape, taking fitness seriously, teaching guys game literally how to succeed in dating lives. I wanted you to speak a bit about those guys out there who are sitting in this black pill mindset where they're giving up on life, they're giving up on dating, fuck everybody kind of mentality. What would you say are the first steps that they need to take to get away from this sphere and start taking action to actually improve themselves, both in fitness, dating, and just life overall?
yeah, I mean, I always say, the black pill, the red pill, the blue pill, all that is just, it's necessary. And what happens with an elastic, when you stretch it very far, it either snaps or it comes back to the middle. And hopefully the guys listening in that are, taking the black pill, you don't let that shit snap. All right, bring that back to the center. Okay, that's where most of us live, and that's where most women will find you at your happiest and find the attraction in there alone. When you're out there dunking on women, have this black pill mindset, treating them like, very, very terribly, that energy will come back to haunt you. And so I think it's important for guys to learn, don't be so jaded with women. Don't underestimate them, but also don't be so jaded with the fact that some of their nature isn't as appealing to us. Okay, and we have to get over that, because some of those things is a necessary evil. It's a feature, not a bug, and we have to accept that and not be angry with it. And I think that's where a lot of guys in the black pill, they take this information and they go and become extremely nihilistic with it, and they think the absolute terrible things about just relationships in general, and they have this bad taste in their mouth. And I assure you that I've been there. Okay, I've been through a divorce. I took the black pill myself. I did say F these hoes. Okay, but you have to understand that, like, when it comes to leaving a legacy, okay, having a woman birth your children for you, okay, there's levels to that thing. Okay, um for a woman to say, okay, I'm gonna mess up my whole entire body for you, um there's a level of game that it requires for a guy to actually get to that status. Okay, and then not only that, there's another level from there, which is attainment. Oh, sorry, retainment. Okay, we talked about attainment. We now there's retainment. Okay, which is not just important for women, but it's also important for guys too. Why? Because that woman who just had your child, she can destroy you in the divorce courts. Okay, so this is why a lot of us guys, we always say get a prenup, watch your assets, and make sure that she's just not that type of woman. But guys don't listen. They're gonna do their stupid thing anyway. But for the most part, the guys listening in, this piece of information is gonna save you, because it's not in your best interest to go against her, okay, in the courts, when it comes to familial things, okay, especially your children. You can have them taken away from you and all this bad stuff. All right. um so I've gotten kind of away from your original question, but in a nutshell, I would argue, most guys should know this stuff before getting into the thick of all these things, and then also, take a step back and say, okay, where's all this coming from? Well, our parents have a lot to do with our upbringing, and if you guys don't have a healthy relationship with your parents, then that will bleed into your interpersonal relationships, not to mention your marriage and your intimate relationships. Okay, so that's another thing to look into when going about this personal development journey, because when you're taking the black pill, when you're getting nihilistic, when you're blaming everybody else but yourself, okay, becomes a huge problem for you and the rest of the people around you. Because not only are you looking for, misery loves company, right? Not only are you looking for people who agree with you, that company is just going to keep you down like crabs in the bucket. So I recommend get around guys like Yanni, get around dudes who are like, you know what? I understand female nature. I understand that there's a dark side and there's a good side, but I'm not going to take it and you know shit on girls for the fact that they have this about them, right? Even though that women go out there and dunk on guys all the time, we as men, I'm sure you understand this as well. When you go into uh, martial arts, is like, real men de-escalate situations first before they have to be like, oh shit, okay, you know what, I'm gonna have to knock this guy out, right? But before all of that, real men were like, okay, you know what, we see the problems in the world. We see that, okay, maybe this guy's IQ deficient in this area, and there's no use in knocking this guy out just yet. But if he shows me disrespect in another way, again, then you have that ability to go another notch. And then, you know, uh, what would you say to a client looking to, neutralize the threat or something like that? I guess, what I'm trying to say is, like, don't go all the way, right? Until you have to, but be able to. So, like an elastic, if you're stretching too far, it's going to snap. I recommend coming back to the center, and avoid the black pill altogether, because I think it's just completely unhealthy. So,
I agree, man. You said it super well, and it is true that in order for you to get out of a one, how can I say, circle, you need to start surrounding yourself and looking up to people who you want to become. I mean, my martial arts coach always asked me and told me, in order to become actually a good student and a coach in general, you have to be a good student. First of all, are you coachable? Like, are you actually open minded, like a 10 out of 10, to take in the information that you're given to actually improve you, apply it, and then become the better person that you want to be. So that is the first step when it comes to stepping out from this closed-minded black pill to life zone. On the other hand, like Rob said, yes, we're playing a very tough game, not just in dating, because dating at the end of the day, it's the reflection of what the world has become. And as a reality, as we see it right now, world has become much, much harder to play as in a video game. So in order to do that, you need to be prepared to attack the world. So you need to have your armor, you need to have your mental armor, you need to have your spiritual armor. And most importantly, you need to chase a purpose which is bigger than you and not chase women, so to speak. Like Future said, chase a chick, never chase a bitch. And it is true. And it's not to shit a woman, so
Shut
to
up,
speak.
future.
Exactly. Shout out to Future. But it's true because I see a lot of guys nowadays that they chase things that do not actually serve them in their purpose. They would rather chase women. They'll chase a dopamine hit that then will disappear. And once it disappears, guess what? You're back to being a normie. So what you gonna do from here? What's your real purpose? I want you to take a look, ask yourself, what can I do in this world? How can I find purpose? How can I be remembered in the future? And by default, as you'll be answering those questions and taking the action necessary, that's when you'll be attracting the right type of people around you. So, women as well. And I want to ask you this, Rob, since you are in your 40s and you're taking your fitness very seriously, a lot of our viewers they actually wanted to get a lot of fitness insights. And of course, is one thing when you're a young man where you train hard, you can train 6 times a week, you can get injured, but then you recover like Wolverine, literally. What type of advice would you give to guys in their 40s who either are looking to get back into shape or actually going through injuries and trying to rehab at the same time as getting into shape? Because it's not the same. So I feel like you would be a good person to talk about it.
Yeah, fitness is one of those daunting things for a lot of guys, and I get it. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, okay? And with fitness, okay, you have to get little things in order incrementally before you go out there and actually go at it. Because for me, as a guy who was, a three-sport athlete growing up, I played baseball, I played soccer, I played hockey at very high levels. All throughout my teenage years, and then I succumbed to a really bad ankle injury playing volleyball in gym class of all things. Okay, and that was kind of the end of my athletic career, so to say. From then, it kind of takes a toll on you, and at 40, all those things kind of start adding up, and it takes you a lot longer to so what I'm trying to say is, like, had I gone back, done things differently, I would have taken my health a little bit more seriously. It wasn't until this personal development journey that I took my health a little bit more seriously, and then the last 3 years have been the healthiest I've ever been in terms of fitness and things of that nature. But it took me so long to get there, and I get why guys put it on the back burner. But what I can say from all that is I wish I started sooner. So the earlier you get this message, the better, because then you can start the journey right now, ASAP. Do it right now. Like, don't leave it the last thing. I mean, like, go sign up for a boxing class, because that's a great way to get started. Baby steps. Okay, it works on things like cardio and even just your discipline, getting to the gym on time, and showing up for your boxing class. Like, these little things matter along your fitness journey, because if how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you're not going out there and doing these minute things, and becoming a master of them, how do you expect to do the big things later on? And so your mind and your muscles have a memory, and because they do, uh, the better you get at these little things, okay, your body and your mind can relax from thinking of doing them, because it just becomes natural to you. And then you can go and focus on building new skills like boxing, working on your rhythm, working on your timing, conditioning, things like that. But again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Do the little things here and there. Whether you have to go and get yourself a physical, get your blood work, get checked out. Make sure you're out there. But resistance training, cardio, those go hand in hand. You should never just do one or the other. I think you should do both. And yeah, learn how to fight, get in the gym. I think it's not too late for even older guys to learn how to box, because it's great for, like I said, cardio. And it's just a good skill to have, because when you're in a street fight, what's most likely going to happen? You're going to be throwing hands. And if you're not a great boxer, um, I'm sorry, you're just going to get knocked out quicker than the other dude. And that's not a good place to be, so to say. So yeah, get in the gym, work on your strength, your conditioning, and learn how to fight. Because as a guy who you know got into all these street fights myself, there's one thing that I wish I learned, and yeah, that's proper MMA, how to defend, takedowns and stuff like that. So if I had known all these things, then I probably would have not have a cracked rib right now. But yeah, I mean, you live and you learn. And that was the only street fight I lost till this day, but it was the one that taught me the most lessons, right? So I think, even as a guy, don't be afraid to be humbled, because you just come back stronger, and also have respect for other people as you go along. I think Yanni taught me that one as well too. So that's pretty much it, man. As a guy in their 40s, going through it myself, you know what I mean? uh it's never too late to get a six-pack, boys, you know what I mean? And girls love that shit, right? Girls, they, as much as they say, oh, I love the dad bod and da 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 da, no, man. I'll just give you guys, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but like the moment I put shirtless photos on my dating profile, that's when I started to see the uptick in uh likes and responses that I get from women. So don't be fooled when girls are like, oh yeah, I love a good dad bod. Don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. Okay.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. This guy knows what's up. And guys, before you actually put any shirtless photos in your dating apps, make sure you consult Rob first, because he knows how to actually post this properly without getting flagged as creep. So, so that being said, we're almost coming to an end for this stream. It's been super, super great so far. Lots of information. Rob, before we come to an end, tell the audience what type of services you offer exactly and where can they find you.
Yeah, man. If you're an Asian guy listening in, go to Rob Based. If you're not, you can go to the Robbie C, and just DM me there. But I do private coaching, private consulting, whether you own a business or whether or not you're looking to get personal help for whatever scenario that we just talked about, women, finances, fitness, it doesn't really matter. We dive deep in all those areas, because like I said, I built my business on the backs of these men who are going through the worst possible things that I don't even wish my enemy to go through. So you guys can reach me on those two socials. Just DM me, and then we can have a conversation behind the scenes about that stuff. So, but if you guys want some free resources, like I said, Asian guys, go to robbase.com. If you're a divorced dad listening in by chance, I doubt it. Yanni's like, he's the young buck of the crew, so I doubt any of you guys are going through a divorce. But if you guys know, like maybe a coworker or something like that, maybe gone through a divorce or anything like that, get in touch with Yanni. I have a free book that I can give all you guys listening in, and then I also have a free private Facebook group on in Facebook called Divorce Dads Overcoming Divorce. Okay, so you guys can find that, and that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah. So you heard this, guys. So Rob Based, or the Robbie C on Instagram. And he also has this private community on Facebook, which is Dads Overcoming Divorce. I will drop all the links in the description. So alongside with his handle and what he offers. Now, as for guys who are listening, guys between the ages of 25 to 50 years old who are working in high stress environments. It could be entrepreneurs, small business owners, corporate, stuff like that. If you guys are looking to get back into shape and get back into this masculine edge of yours and learn how to fight specifically, I offer 5 slots for 5 guys who are looking to transform themselves. We're going to have a 12-week boot camp where I'm going to be teaching you martial arts. I'm going to give you a custom workout plan to enforce your body. I'm going to give you a custom nutrition plan. And also, you're going to have me as an accountability coach. Now, I've coached more than 70 people throughout Banana Fighter Fit, which is my brand, and not to mention the dozens upon dozens upon dozens when I was an assistant instructor back in the days. Now, one last thing, I'm going to remind you all one more time. Fireblood, this shit is bussing. This is the supplement that you guys must have on your shelf. It has all the amino acids, all the multi minerals, all the freaking good stuff that you need in your daily life. Now, most of you guys were going to be spending $300 to $400 on your basic supplements at the store. This one right here, it lasts you for 30 days and it's only a deposit of $100. And honestly, I've taken it, improved my productivity a lot, my brain power, and just boosts my testosterone. Makes me piss yellow. So that's that good. So I'll drop the link in the description. You can reach out to me via my socials, Banana Fighter Fit on Instagram, The Banana Fighter on TikTok, and you can also find me on Facebook, Banana Fighter Fit. But other than that, this is what it is. Find us on socials. Start taking action, guys. I hate all of y'all that are way, way too passive about life. The people who actually win in life, those are the ones who take action and go through the suffering, learn from those sufferings, and become even better from that, like Rob and I. So start taking some action, guys. Now, guys, I want to thank y'all once again for coming over here and checking in and absorbing all this knowledge and hopefully learning at least one thing. That's the most important. And I want to thank Rob for showing up and dropping all this sauce and just like bunch of value that guys are going to now listen and indulge in and improve from. So I thank you very much, man.
Yanni, it was a pleasure connecting with you, man. Anything for my brother. And like I said, man, everybody listening in needs to go learn how to fight. I think what you're offering is absolute gold, brother. And the fact that you're doing it for free, it's unreal. How the hell are you offering all that, right? So you'd be remiss if you don't take Yanni up on that offer. So appreciate you, brother, for everything that you do and everything that you do for your community, my man. Keep going.
Oh yeah, man. All right, guys. This is the end of the stream, guys. I'll catch you later for the next podcast episode. Check the announcement, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you updated on who's the next guest will be. But other than that, thanks once again, and we're going to end the stream.
Let's go.